Author George Chesterton is credited with noting the difference between a tourist and a traveler. I am a traveler. I want to know what's down that road. I look at a map, and I can spend an entire evening looking through an atlas. I look at a map and I wonder, why does that road curve right there? What's that place like? Why is there nothing between here and there? Let's go. Let's find out. My hometown is Bemidji. U.S. Highway 2 runs through Bemidji, and I grew up just 2 blocks from the highway on the north end of town. My dad explained that U.S. 2 was a national highway. It didn't stop at the border with Wisconsin or North Dakota. Nope, 2 went as far west as the Pacific coast and east to the Atlantic. And it went through my hometown, just 2 blocks from my house. It was like the yellow brick road. Bemidji was a small town in rural northern Minnesota, but here was a magic conduit to the world. No, it didn't just go through Grand Rapids or Bagley. It went to exotic Spokane, Washington, and Lancaster, New Hampshire. In 2015, we went to Glacier National Park, and we took 2 across Montana, what they call the High Line. When we got on Highway 2 near Minot, the navigation system told us, turn right in 654 miles. It was a memorable moment. In the 1970s, I got a sales job that required me to travel. I was on the road Monday through Friday. I did it for 9 years, and I generally liked it a lot. I drove 1,000 to 1,500 miles a week. I traveled Minnesota, the Dakotas, much of Iowa, and Wisconsin. And at one time, you could give me any 2 towns in this patch of real estate, and I could tell you from map memory the best way to get from one to the other and how long it would take. Unfortunately, that's not a skill that is of any use in the 21st century. Now, you have to have the right mindset to be a traveler. What could go wrong? Well, everything. You have to be prepared. Prepared means first packing realistic expectations, and second, understand that you are willingly rescinding your right to complain. Tourists complain, travelers understand. Yeah, the HVAC unit in that motel was way too loud. The hot water in the shower in that motel could cook corn on the cob. There was the one where the outlet turned off with the wall switch and the phones didn't charge. But you just have to let it go. The only alternative is to stay home, and that's not happening. Yvon Chouinard, adventurer and founder of the Patagonia Company, said, "The adventure doesn't begin until something goes wrong." That's the right attitude. I was involved in a crash in Montreal in 1983. Nobody was hurt, but we were on our way home and nearly out of money. We were in trouble, but people were there to help. The guy driving the wrecker was looking out for us, as were the folks at the body shop and the motel, even the insurance company. They were all understanding and helpful. The boyfriend of a woman who worked at the motel gave us a tour of the city one evening, just because he was a nice guy. Instead of being stuck in a generic Montreal suburb for 10 days, we saw the real city. Montreal is a beautiful city. The adventure doesn't begin until something goes wrong. When we travel, we avoid franchise restaurants. Mom-and-pop cafes are the way to go. The great Google makes them easy to find. And if it's not great, it's memorable, but it's usually both. There was a place that had 1 employee. Gladys was cooking, waiting tables, and cashier. We split an order of onion rings, and later she brought us more because she didn't think she'd brought us enough the first time. There was the place near Death Valley that had donkeys greeting us in the parking lot. Denny's does not have greeting donkeys. In a few weeks, we're driving to the West Coast. We'll take I-94 into Montana, but then we're going to jump on US 12. 12 is one of the few U.S. national routes not completely consumed by the interstate system. US 12 goes through Roundup, Montana. I saw it on the map, and I just knew I'd have to get there someday. I doubt there's much to see in Roundup, but we're going to find out. Now, is going through Roundup, Montana interesting or a waste of time and gas? Are you a traveler or a tourist? US 12 goes from Missoula across Lolo Pass in the Bitterroot Mountain Range. We'll visit Mount Rainier National Park, spend a few days in Tacoma, then head down the Oregon coast into Northern California, Redwoods, Mount Shasta, Crater Lake, then back east, stopping for a few days to visit the Tetons. This is the Great American Road Trip. It includes nearly 2,000 miles of windshield time as we cross the Great Plains, and while this could be seen as torturous to some, it is quite doable if you make just one adjustment. It's in your head. You have to let go of the destination. It's the journey, not the destination. This winter, I think we'll go to the Texas coast and visit Big Bend National Park. Next summer, it's Yosemite, Sequoia, and the national parks in Utah. Then there's down east Maine, Acadia National Park, and the highest tides in the world on the Bay of Fundy. Also on the list is the Barrier Islands of North Carolina, the Blue Ridge Parkway. I think we'll take the train to Seattle, rent a car, and see the rest of the Washington parks. We're skipping the cruise, flying to Alaska, and doing the train tour. And you think that's a lot? Hey, I'm just getting started. Well, this is what we've worked for. This is the sweet spot. We've saved our money, we're relatively healthy, and I want to spend my money on experiences, not a nursing home. It's time for the Great American Road Trip. Let's go!